Hello my dear friends, and welcome to my channel. My name is Barbara, and today we're going to be looking at everything you need to know about the sign of Pisces. So very excited to be getting into this video. This video is for you if you do have a Pisces stellium, a lot of Pisces energy overall. Maybe you have 1 or 2 Pisces placements and it's going to resonate. Or if you're a cross watcher, welcome as well. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. We're going to start off with the ultimate basics. So Pisces is the mutable water sign. They're ruled by the planet of Neptune. In modern astrology, in ancient astrology, it was ruled by the planet of Jupiter. They are also the 12th house. So there's so much to say with this energy. Before I get into it, I also wanted to mention that Pisces does rule the feet and it rules the pineal gland. What does this mean? Well, in terms of chakras, what I would say for the Piscean energy is that they are ruling the third eye and the crown chakra. The idea is the connection to the other side, the metaphysical plane, the spiritual energy, all these sorts of things. Being a mutable water sign, if we look at the little picture for Pisces, it's going to be the 2 fish that are constantly swimming in a loop. We're coming out of the age of Pisces as well. What was going on during the age of Pisces? It was all about looking for that connection to spirituality. A lot of the time it was through religion. Now again, that can be debated. We do have a light side to every sign and we have a shadow aspect to every sign. So with Pisces, it goes on such a huge range because it is the 12th house. It has all of the preceding signs' knowledge encompassed into it. When you meet a Piscean person, you're going to notice that this individual is going to be very much familiar to you. A lot of the time, if you yourself are Pisces or have a lot of Pisces energy in your natal chart, you might notice that people say to you things like, oh, I feel like I've met you before, or you remind me of someone that I used to know. That's that familiarity energy because it's like, it's the 12th house. There's a lot of karma. There's a lot of karma to clear, especially when you come down to the earth plane, and it's closely connected to spirituality and having the knowledge from the other side. But not just that, the knowledge from preceding lifetimes as well. That 6th house, 12th house axis is the healer's axis. So Virgo and Pisces, they're going to be operating in terms of healing in different ways. Virgo is going to be more so your day-to-day. They're going to be more so out there, on the battlefield, as I like to say sometimes, actually in the earth plane in terms of working in certain industries like healing and being of service in terms of being maybe like a doctor. Like it could be very linear in this way. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that though, because oppositions do bounce off of each other. You might notice Piscean people in these industries as well, because again, sometimes when the Pisces energy, if it does get too overwhelming in terms of the crown chakra and the ideas and all these sorts of things, they're going to go into their Virgo aspects where it's like they can be grounded and vice versa. Virgo can be very intuitive, they can be very psychic, they can ground a lot of psychic information. So this is really important to know in terms of oppositional energy, especially in a natal chart, because also on this earth plane, it's very difficult for the Piscean people to operate all water signs because you guys are going to be very feeling based. You're going to pick up on everything around you because it's water. You're going to constantly absorb things. It's that energy. It's really that clairsentience that you guys do have. Now again, it can be on a range in terms of your psychic gifts and abilities. You guys are just going to pick up on things a lot of the time. You're going to be very intuitive. You're going to be very psychic. A lot of the time your dreams might come true, like in the nighttime when you dream of things, but also in the physical plane, your dreams can come true. The Piscean person, a lot of the time, is almost like playing out this movie. It really depends on the rest of your natal chart to see what's going on with the Pisces energy, but also it depends to see how much Piscean energy you have going on in your natal chart, because it's like sometimes the lines can get blurred for this energy, if that makes sense, where it's like they actually do feel like they're in a movie. They feel like they're playing out some sort of movie and everything is grand and there's all these scenes and all these sorts of things. It's very much romanticizing. That's the thing with the Piscean energy. You'll notice a lot of the time people with Piscean energy in their natal chart are going to be huge romantics. They're going to romanticize every aspect of life. For them, going to like Starbucks is going to be a romantic experience. And it's unfortunate because sometimes this energy can also have an energy of disappointment attached to it, at least from what I found. Because what tends to happen a lot of the time, the Piscean energy has this dream, they have this vision. And because they focus on it so much, it becomes that reality to them. That's what I was saying about like that blurred line between the movie energy, right? Where it's like the dream and vision that they have feels like reality to them. And because it feels like this, they're very good at bringing it through. Now the thing is, what might happen with this energy is when they get that thing, they might feel disappointed because it's like, it's not like they had envisioned. It's never going to be quite like they had envisioned. So the question I always have for this particular placement and sign is, just because it's not going to be exactly how you had envisioned, does that mean you guys should stop dreaming? I don't know. That's the question. That's really what's going on with this energy. It's really all about the dreams and grounding them into reality and then maybe feeling disappointed. And usually what I find with this placement is they do tend to have that disappointment energy, because it's like when you tap into those high vibrations, which you guys are so capable of when you have Piscean energy in your natal chart, when you tap into those high vibrations, it's like colorful, it's exciting. For you guys, being in your imagination is the most exciting thing. Even tapping into the other side, that's why a lot of the time the sign does deal with escapism, because it's like you escape through the mind, through the dreams, all these types of things. And it's like it becomes so real to you guys. And again, when it's anchored, it might not be exactly how you guys had envisioned, and it could lead to that energy of disappointment. So like I was saying, this energy can really, really struggle with an energy of escapism, because it's like being out of body for them is way more interesting than being on the earth plane, because honestly, the earth plane is very boring if you think about it. If you think about the earth plane, it's all about the day-to-day, all these sorts of things, which is your opposition. But Pisces energy is so much more colorful than that, so much more exciting. It's so much more, you know, all these exciting dreams and ideas that you guys have. And a lot of the time you'll notice a lot of artists have these placements. A lot of people who are musicians, you guys are going to be highly connected to music when you have a lot of Pisces energy in your natal chart. It's almost like you're channeling through music. It takes you guys into that alternative dimension, that alternative reality is really what that is. But the thing is that Piscean energy, again, because you guys enjoy being out of body so much, you might struggle with the earth plane and the earthly like things. I notice a lot of the time Pisces people do attract Virgo people, because with Piscean energy, there's almost like this unconscious desire to be led. Sometimes I see the Pisces energy so expansive that they need a team to work with them. If we look in history, for example, all of the greatest artists and musicians and all these sorts of people, they had a team. It's just the Pisces person is bringing through that idea. You guys need kind of like a team to help you execute this. Now, I know it's not realistic maybe for everyone to have a team, but being aware of this energy, maybe figuring out how you can balance that energy within, maybe figuring out how to balance more masculine energy, because Pisces energy is going to be very feminine. That's that feminine flow, you know? You wake up today, you want to do this, you don't feel like doing this, and masculine energy contains that for you. That's why sometimes you guys do attract people who are going to be a container for you, or unconsciously, you guys are seeking as someone to lead you. Sometimes the Pisces energy might struggle with being led. You'll notice a lot of the time Piscean people, even 12th house people, are going to be interested in getting a lot of readings. It's like they're looking for a guide. Ultimately is really what that is, because again, there's just so much information, there's so much ideas, there's so much knowledge from past lives. It's karmic in a sense. And it's like, because there's so much, there's a lot of things to sift through as well, if you really think about it. And because there's so much going on, sometimes you can fall into the escapism energy. Escapism is on such a huge range. You could be escaping, again, just being out of body all the time, not wanting to engage with the physical plane, saying like, it's so lame down here. Escaping through even like spiritual concepts and ideas and like the metaphysical world. It could be one way, shape, or form that you guys do escape, but also it can be things like substance abuse. It could be this as well. It can be anything to do with being out of body. You'll find that Pisces people are very interested and drawn to things like drugs and substances of the sort, because again, it's out of body. It's almost like a relief energetically, because these individuals, again, there's so much going on and you need a lot of time to yourselves. And you need to really, really figure out your energy when you do have a lot of Pisces energy in your natal chart, because really what tends to happen is like you take on a lot of people's energies. You guys might struggle with enmeshment or codependencies or these types of things, or just like taking on things that were never yours. It's like that clairsentient empath type of vibe is really what that is. And you guys absorb and you absorb and you absorb, and it's like you're overwhelmed and then you want to escape and you want to escape. But the best thing you guys can do, honestly, is either spending time in nature or by water or taking baths or just taking time for yourselves, because it is that 12th house. You guys are going to have to be isolated. What has happened with the Pisces energy, it's like sometimes Pisces gets overwhelmed with everything that's happening on the earth plane. The best thing that I heard from someone, and honestly it stuck with me for so long, is that most people on the earth plane, like a large majority of these individuals, don't actually feel their feelings. The Pisces person comes through, or any water sign or any individual who is a feeler, right? Walks through, they pick up, they absorb everything. It could just be from you guys taking a walk outside, or just being in a grocery store, or being in a mall or something of the sort. And you guys take on all these things and it gets overwhelming, and you guys are like, oh, I don't want to interact with the world anymore. And then you go into isolation. That's that push-pull energy constantly that you guys are going to be struggling with when you do have Pisces in your natal chart. Pisces dominant, even maybe one Pisces placement. Personally, I find even one water sign placement in a person's natal chart, especially if it's in the big six, is going to really take over the person's personality and energy. At least that's what I've observed. There's a lot of emotional energy, and emotional energy is not something that's very communicated or even accepted on the earth plane. And it's like a person has a lot of emotions, and it's also something that's not really like, it's not really studied if you think about it. You know what I mean? It's not normalized really to feel, if we really, really think about it. I mean, things are changing now, but up until now, at least it's been this way. So because of this, it's like you have a lot of these emotions and you don't know what to do with them, because again, it's not normalized. There's no outlet essentially for it. So a lot of the time for these placements, best things to do is either to journal, to get things out of your system, to actually feel and figure out what's yours and what's another person's. That's the biggest suggestion or advice, I guess you can say, I have for any water sign, really, but specifically for Pisces, because again, you guys are healers. So it's like a lot of the time Piscean people are going to find themselves in situations where it's like something drastic just happened and you guys happen to walk through that situation, because again, your healing energy is needed in that particular place. That's really what's happening. And it's like, it's unintentional, you know, but it's like you guys end up in these situations because it's like naturally you guys have this healing aura to you. And then you're going to attract a lot of different people into your life. Like a lot of people who might want to just take your energy from you, drain you. And it's like, because it's a healer's axis, you might fall into the shadow or bounce off of Virgo, where it's like you're overgiving. And like, who fills your cup? That's the thing. That's always my question. Who heals the healer at the end of the day? You guys have to really, really protect your energy. And again, protecting it a lot might mean going into isolation for extended periods of time. But then at the same time, it's like the Pisces energy is meant to be out there because it's karmic. That's the thing to understand. When you have a particular sign in your natal chart, it's like it's a karmic placement. All signs are karmic in one way, shape, or form. And for you guys, the karma is that push-pull between wanting to be in isolation and actually having to be out there again on the battlefield, for lack of a better term. But that's what it feels like sometimes out there in the world, is really what it is. So it's like being out there and healing with just your energy. That's the most important thing to understand. I feel like because we're living in a time now, especially a lot of people are starting to be more open to the healing world, which is amazing. That doesn't necessarily mean that everyone should be doing healing services. You know what I mean? If you feel a call to it, absolutely do it. That's what your calling is. But it's like sometimes being a healer is just being who you are as a person. Comedians are healers, lawyers can be healers, you know, all these sorts of different industries that for whatever reason, especially in this last little while, what has taken place, it's like it's been demonized in a way. And it's like, oh, you don't want to live that life. You don't want to be in that particular area of your life. But it's like sometimes that's the person's calling, and you're a healer in that sense, where it's like a lawyer can be a healer, for example, because they're healing the individual that they're defending, for example. It's just you guys are going to have a healing energy. It depends on the rest of your natal chart to see how this is going to manifest, because you guys are mutable. People are going to like you. People are always going to be drawn to you. That's the thing. And it's like you guys have to develop strong boundaries is going to be a huge theme for you guys as well. Learning boundaries and taking time to yourselves, but not too much time, because again, that's the whole karmic energy that's going on there, because you're here to clear, you're here to basically spread your knowledge, you're here to basically raise the frequency in one way, shape, or form with unconditional love. It can be through your art, it can be through your music, it can be through film, it can be through theater, it can be through makeup. That's another thing the Piscean energy can also be doing, is anything to do with illusions. It can be photography, these types of things. But the most important thing to understand for this placement is to resolve your own emotions first, take off other people's energy off of you, because otherwise you guys might fall into escapism and addictions. All the water signs might struggle with an addiction of some sort, because again, anytime you're going through an addiction, it's like you're escaping yourself. You're escaping maybe something that has happened to you. Maybe there's a traumatic event that you guys have to integrate, because the thing is the Piscean energy is going to want everything to be high vibe and nice and peaceful and loving, but it's like maybe there's something there that needs to be integrated that has taken place. It's all about the emotions. That's the thing to understand with this placement. And like I was saying even earlier, there isn't really like a course, let's say in school, where they teach you and it's like, okay, this is how you regulate your emotions. This is how this emotion feels. This is how that emotion feels. You guys are kind of left out there with the Piscean energy, fending for yourselves in terms of emotions, because you feel everything. You feel everything. You absorb everything. And there's no way for you not to absorb. That's the whole thing to understand here. The best thing you can do, like I said, is to have boundaries and to create environments for yourselves where it's like you have your own inner peace and you're aware of what your energy is, again, versus other people's energy as well. Now, another thing that I also wanted to touch on in this video is in the tarot, the Pisces energy is represented by the moon. What does this mean? So the moon basically controls the waves, which again controls the emotions, the emotional world. There could be illusions here. It is ruled by Neptune. So the thing is, you guys can be a master illusionist. You guys can even be interested in things like acting as well and creating illusions of some sort. Sometimes people might feel like they don't actually know you, because it's like sometimes the Piscean energy, again, is that healer's energy where it's like they want to put everyone else first, bouncing off of Virgo. And again, they might not ever have the spotlight, or they might feel invisible. Sometimes that might happen with the 12th house energy as well, because Pisces is the 12th house. Sometimes they might feel invisible, or like people don't hear them, or like people don't see them, like literally. And then what they do is they prop other people up, and then they kind of, you know, fall into the background. But it's like you guys have so much wisdom. That's the thing. It's a matter of tapping into this wisdom that you've already learned, probably in past lives. That's the thing. There's a lot of wisdom. It's going to be intuitive. It's going to be psychic. Keep in mind, creative energy is psychic energy. So you guys are always going to be connected to the other side. You might even have past life memories. All you guys probably have to do is just shift your consciousness, is really what that is, to shift that psychic intuitive muscle to be able to tap into these things. And a lot of the time you have to clear off things, like I said, off of you, or even traumas, integrate them, all these types of things, so you can go into those higher chakras where you guys ultimately do desire. And also another thing with you guys being represented by the moon in the tarot, what is the moon also representing to us? They're the only light in the sky in the nighttime. So that's something that you guys also represent, is being that light in the darkness. And then we also have the moon reflecting the sun's energy. There's that energy going on as well, as I was mentioning earlier, where it's like you guys let other people shine. You're the reflection of other people, but also literally you're reflecting to other people who they are. You guys can be a huge mirror for people. You guys might trigger people without realizing that you triggered them. Again, there's an energy of enmeshment. So sometimes what might happen is like you guys might pull things out of people without realizing that you're pulling information out of people. It's like, you know, maybe they're thinking something and then you guys say it, or maybe you say an answer to them that they're thinking about, these types of things. So there could be even an energy of fear maybe attached to you guys as well, not you in particular, but people toward you, where it's like you're reflecting back to them who they are on the inside. So a lot of people, if we think about it in this day and age, they aren't necessarily authentic. They might be lying, they might not be saying the truth, and it's like you guys can pull that out at any second without realizing. It's that unconscious energy, because it's almost like the Piscean energy takes on the other person's form and then reflects it back to them. I'm sure you guys are going to catch my drift with what I'm saying about that. So it's like then you guys bring out fear in people, or even intimidation, because it's like people don't want their stuff coming to the surface. You know, they don't want their stuff being exposed, but unconsciously you guys might be exposing this. Again, it depends where you do have Pisces in your natal chart. That could be something that does take place, or sometimes you guys can channel things through, even just like take on other people's mannerisms. Like again, it's that water energy. It's like you're merging to your environment. So really your environment is going to be very important to you, whether you guys are aware of it or not. You're always going to be absorbing other people's things, even people maybe who you guys live with or people who you guys work with, and it's like then somehow it becomes a part of who you are, even though it's not who you are, if that makes sense. And the thing is with this energy as well, it's like you guys can take as much time as you want, you know, doing the perfect meditation in the morning and maybe one in the evening and maybe one in the afternoon to cleanse your energies, and you guys can go to the water and ground and do all of the practices. But it's like if you're in the incorrect environment, you're still going to be absorbing. That's really the thing here. So it's going to be really important for you guys to, first of all, in terms of like relationships, have people who are maybe on the same vibrational level as you guys, even in terms of your living environment, even in terms of your friends. Like be very wary of your environment. And again, like I said, because you guys get overwhelmed, you guys go into the 12th house energy where it's like you want to be in isolation, you guys thrive in isolation, you have the time to basically separate everything, be like, okay, this is where this is coming from, this is where that's coming from, and all these types of things. And when you guys are in isolation, you guys are going to get all those ideas, the downloads, the creative ideas, the musical ideas. It's like I said, the music takes you guys to another level. It's a frequency. But same with who you guys are as an individual. You guys are here to up level and heal the collective with your energetic fields. That's the whole thing to understand. You don't even have to do anything. It's just who you are as an individual is energetically healing. And sometimes the way that I see like energetic healing in terms of your own energy, it's like it's something that's building, it's building, it's building. The more you even develop your own solar plexus, that could be a chakra maybe that you guys work on as well. Your identity, your boundaries, who you guys truly are as an individual, your aura keeps expanding, expanding, expanding. You're able to reach more and more people, because ultimately that's the Piscean dream. The Piscean dream, and even karma and all these sorts of things, is to reach a lot of people with your frequency and basically help them elevate their consciousness. Again, it can be unconscious. It doesn't have to be in something that you guys are speaking. Like I said, it can be through your music, it can be through your singing voice, it can be through your acting. It's just who you are as an individual. And this is closely connected to your past lives because of the fact that, again, that 12th house has dealt with a lot of people in your past life. That's why in this lifetime they come through and they recognize you, because it's like it's an accumulation. You have to look at it that way as well. It's an accumulation of past lives, accumulation of karma, and you're coming through to clear out this karma, clear out this cycle. And again, you're going to feel that on an intuitive level, that you're here to serve on some sort of higher level, but it might take you a while to figure out what that is. Because again, there's a lot of things to sift through, a lot of things that were placed upon you, things that maybe weren't even yours, and all these types of things. So really taking time to figure out what your energy is probably going to be the biggest blessing, and creating, again, strong boundaries so you can expand outwards. That's the whole thing here. It's an energetic thing that's really happening behind the scenes, and it's on a metaphysical level, and it's karmic. All the signs have some sort of karma, but for you guys, it's going to be a lot of karma to clear, but not necessarily just negative karma. Sometimes it's like it's an agreement that you made before you came here. That is really what that is. It's karmic in that sense, because it's like you said maybe in a past life you didn't get to complete whatever it was, and you're like, next time I come here, I'm going to do it for sure. You know what I mean? Or maybe even before we incarnated here, this type of energy. So that's kind of the idea here. Very spiritual, very psychic, very intuitive, very creative, a lot of knowledge, very wise, very like to yourselves. You guys could even be quiet or just like an observer. It really depends on the rest of your natal chart in terms of how much you guys are going to speak or communicate. Unless you guys have a lot of Gemini energy in there, you guys are probably going to talk a lot. You guys are going to very much be observers. And again, it's really you're transcending this lower vibrational energy where it's like the enmeshment with other people, taking on a lot of people's energies, you know, really figuring out emotions, learning what your emotions are, and, you know, not escaping. That's the biggest thing. It's the escapism here, and addiction through escapism is going to be something that you guys have to really work through to get into that divine version of Pisces, which really ultimately is the healer. It is the healer. It is the spiritual teacher. It is the one who is here to elevate consciousness, is really what that is. So my dear friends, I'm going to wrap up this video here. I do hope you guys did enjoy my video on Pisces. If you did, please do like, share, and subscribe. And I hope you all have a beautiful rest of the day.